The question is that the bill be now read a second time, and I call the member for Fowler.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And as we've just heard from members in this chamber about the extent that Australians are increasingly facing and confronted with spams and scams. And it's no surprise, as we're really spending so much more of our time on our mobile phones and our devices. Technology is wonderful in one way, but a curse in another. Many in this chamber have probably exacerbated with the number of times our mobile phones would ring, and then there's a mobile number that would appear that we don't even know what that number is. Strange numbers appearing, or receiving text messages from organisations that looks like legitimate, such as Toll or Australia Post. And if you actually are an untrained eyes, you could actually click that link. And as the member of England said previously, do not click on any links that you receive on your mobile phones or on your emails. So, unfortunately, this is such a norm in our society these days, with the scammers becoming more and more sophisticated in their craft and with the technology that's available for everybody to use. I know that for a fact that many of my constituents are concerned by the regular, unwanted and unsolicited spam and scam. Some have unfortunately fallen for these scams, as the text messages seem to be legitimate, as I said, in their eyes. My office in Fowler has received emails and calls from constituents who've been victims of this type of scams and cybercrime. One fell victim to a cryptocurrency scheme with scammers convincing them to verify their transactions and identify through a, quote, a bank, which clearly does not exist. This all occurred via text message, and he lost $59,000. As you can see, these are very real experiences of cybercrime or scams which could be prevented. So my understanding is that this bill would set up an SMS Sender ID Registry, which I believe could help tackle cybercrime, namely prevention. Now, once criminals have access to our private information or steal our identity, digital identity, it's very difficult to either recover our privacy or to prosecute the offenders. And often these criminals come from outside of Australia. My office recently met with the Joint Policing Cybercrime Coordination Centre, or JPC3, to seek information on what advice to give our Fowler residents. And I'm really in awe of their work, what they do in investigating and analysing cybercrime on a national and international scale. It's incredible that their work has led to the prosecution of cybercriminals in other countries through their interagency work, Deputy Speaker. For a vital part of their work is in passing on the lessons learned through their investigations to Australians to inform and prevent these crimes from happening in the first place. Australians are really urged to look at the website maintained for this purpose, cyber.gov.au. The information on this site could prevent a world of pain, as well as helping those who have been victims of these criminals. Now, the member for Chisholm also mentioned the Black Scam, the little Black Scam book, and my office also have ordered these books that are available for our community. One of the things I did ask, for this book is to also be in languages, and we're hoping that there'll be availability in languages, because, as we know, communities such as Fowler, where 70% of our population are from non-English speaking backgrounds and are often very vulnerable to scams, this kind of material in languages will be very, very helpful. So it is important, Deputy Speaker, to remember that these criminals and individuals and networks who are exploiting us, and it's especially hard for elderly Australians or for Australians with intellectual disabilities to spot scam messages. And, as I mentioned, new Australians for whom English is not their first language. Like many in my Fowler electorate, they're also very vulnerable to these messages, not only because of language barrier, but because government-used SMS technology might be new to them. Falling for these scams often makes people feel stupid or humiliated, and they are not. This bill places the emphasis where it should be, not on the victim, but on making it more difficult for the criminal. I acknowledge that there was industry-wide consultation ahead of writing this bill, and I also welcome the flexibility that the bill affords in responding to developing technologies, as we know that these can change rapidly. The cost of establishing and maintaining the register is about $10.9 million over 4 years, with ongoing costs of around $2.2 million per year thereafter. It sounds like a lot of money, but in the context of the $3.1 billion that the ACCC reports reported was stolen through scams in 2022, I believe this investment will help protect our Australian public. The work of the JP3 and other law enforcement programs has seen a reduction in SMS scams by 13.1% in 2023, according to the ACCC. I welcome this news. And in supporting this bill, my hope is that it will help to reduce SMS scams that much further. As Australians, we've taken up the convenience of accessing our banking, government departments, shopping as well, and do other activities and other daily transactions using our mobile phones. And with AI technology now widely adopted, we must also be on alert when using such technology. It can certainly assist us, but also hinders us, as there can be deadly weapons in scams. However, we can't surrender the benefits of existing and future technologies to those who would abuse them to steal from us. So for us here in the chamber and those who are well educated and well informed and have access to technology, access to information, and English is their first language, I think scamming, being victims of scam for us is probably less than those that are from vulnerable communities. So I really, while I really support this bill, I really call on the government to ensure that the vulnerable people in our communities, in communities like Fowler, where English is a second language, much more has to be done to ensure that they are protected from the spams and scams. And not to mention, there are obviously increasing spam messages as well on social media. So the social media part of that is another aspect that this bill is probably not going to delve into. But I have no doubt for many small businesses who are using many of our social media platforms to do business, they're constantly receiving so much spam messages there that is interrupting their transaction of the daily businesses. So something has to be done to assist the many small businesses that are relying on the platforms, the social media platforms to transaction, but also in many of their mobile phone transactions as well. So we must not forget the vulnerable in our communities and the small businesses in our community that are very much, will be vulnerable to the scams. So as we continue to make interaction with government and other important agencies and businesses easier and more effective, we must put in safeguards to protect Australians. So the bill is a good step in achieving the protection, and so I will definitely be supporting it. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.